Today, we're tackling something really fundamental, getting started with English.
Right.
We've looked at a whole load of beginner-level English learning materials, and our goal, really, is to pull out those, absolute must-knows.
The starting points.
Exactly, and figure out why they're such a crucial foundation for anyone just, beginning this language journey.
Yeah. Think of it like laying the very first bricks. We're definitely not aiming for instant fluency here.
No, not at all.
But we do want to give you a clear idea of where to begin, and maybe more importantly, why these first steps can be, surprisingly powerful in just opening up communication.
And look, this isn't only for people planning their next trip, although, it'll definitely help there.
Sure will.
But if you're just interested in connecting with, the wider world, or maybe exploring all that English content online, or even thinking about new job prospects, a basic handle on English is just becoming more and more essential, isn't it? It might seem like a huge task.
It can feel daunting.
Right. But honestly, getting these initial bits sorted can feel really, really empowering.
Absolutely. And if the whole idea of learning new language feels a bit, intimidating, that's totally normal.
Yeah, completely.
Our plan here is just to break it down. Small, manageable pieces. And show how even these basic things can start building your confidence straight away.
Okay, so let's get right into it then. Why learn English in the first place? I mean, the stuff we looked at makes it super clear it's a massive global language. You kind of bump into it everywhere.
That's a really crucial point. Global isn't an exaggeration. The resources really hammer home its use in international business,
right,
making it a pretty vital tool for trade and collaboration between countries.
Yeah.
Just imagine understanding business chats or even, joining in a bit.
And it's not just the boardroom, is it? Think about travel.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to figure out a train timetable, ordering food. English often ends up being that common language that lets people from totally different backgrounds connect and just, get around.
Precisely. Yeah. And beyond the practical stuff like business and travel, just think about the sheer amount of entertainment in English.
So much.
Movies, music, online stuff. A huge chunk is in English. Understanding it lets you dive right into this massive pool of culture and information directly. Watching shows or listening to songs as they were originally made.
Right. Suddenly you've got direct access, no need for translations all the time. Plus, like our sources pointed out, this can lead pretty naturally to making new friends, finding opportunities you wouldn't have otherwise stumbled upon.
Yeah.
That ability to just connect with more people personally, that's huge.
It really is. And it's worth saying again, feeling a bit overwhelmed initially, totally fine. This deep dive is designed specifically to kind of ease that worry by focusing on these, fundamental bits.
Okay, so people are convinced English is useful, but where on earth do you start? Our sources, quite rightly, point to basic greetings and introductions, like step one.
Definitely step one.
Yeah.
Think of them as the first handshake. You know, the materials we reviewed really focus on simple, casual greetings first. Things like hello and hi. Those are your reliable, everyday options.
And then you've got the slightly more formal ones linked to the time. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Yeah.
It's actually helpful to know which is which.
It is.
Yeah.
Shows a bit of awareness.
Yeah, even if you're just understanding them at first, there's a sort of respect in using the right one.
Exactly. And a cornerstone of politeness, pretty much everywhere, is asking how someone is doing. That basic, how are you? Absolutely essential.
Classic.
Yeah, and it's interesting, while it's simple, the expected answer, how much detail you give, that can actually vary quite a bit between cultures.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, noticing that can really help your communication.
And just as important is the standard polite reply. Our sources give us the classic, I'm fine, thank you, and you. It shows you're actually having a conversation, not just receiving.
It's reciprocal. Yeah, it's short, but it really works in setting a positive tone right away.
So simple, but effective.
And what's kind of cool is how quickly these really basic exchanges can create a little connection. Even if that's all you know, it's a start, a foundation.
Absolutely. Okay, so you've managed hello, maybe asked how they are, what's next? Well, our sources move into common phrases for beginners. This is where you start sharing a tiny bit about yourself and finding out about them.
Right. The absolute basic, my name is your name. That's how you put your name out there. Simple info, but essential.
And obviously you want to know who you're talking to, so what is your name is a natural follow-up.
Yeah.
Shows you're interested.
And then that phrase everyone appreciates after you've swapped names. Nice to meet you.
Yep. Universal.
Just a simple way to show politeness, goodwill. helps create a nice vibe.
Then we get to gratitude. So important. Thank you, or the slightly shorter thanks.
Yeah.
Your go-to ways to show appreciation.
Can't overstate the importance of thank you. And then those really useful ones for just navigating daily life, like sorry if you bump into someone, or excuse me to get attention politely, or squeeze past.
Yeah, excuse me is key in crowds.
Shows you're considerate.
What's interesting is how these tiny phrases just sort of smooth everything over in basic interactions. You can start talking, swap names, be polite, all without needing tons of words. It's like a basic social toolkit.
They really are. The first building blocks for actually connecting. You can manage a fair bit of basic interaction with just these few key phrases, actually.
Okay, right. So we can say hello, introduce ourselves, be polite. What about actually having a bit more of a conversation, back and forth? Our sources then bring in simple questions and answers.
Yeah, this is where you start gathering a little more info, sharing some basic stuff about yourself. A really common one when meeting someone is asking where they're from. Where are you from?
Always a good opener.
Right. And the answer, I'm from Contricity, helps set a bit of context, often sparks more conversation.
It's such a natural question, isn't it? Helps create some common ground, even if it's just knowing geographically where someone fits. Another big one, especially if you're learning, is do you speak English?
Crucial question.
And the typical totally fine answers provided are yes, a little, or maybe no, but I'm learning.
And those answers are great because they set expectations. They get kind of signal what level the conversation can happen at. It's interesting. Saying I'm learning shows a bit of vulnerability, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But also, it's really positive. Shows intent.
And then you have questions about what people like. What do you like? With examples like, I like music, sports, food. This lets you connect a bit more personally.
Finds common interests.
Exactly. Moves beyond just the facts.
And these simple back and forths, they're so valuable because they're not just swapping data points. You start finding common ground, learning a little about someone's personality, their interests. That's when language learning starts to feel, more engaging.
Yeah, less like homework.
Right. Less like just memorizing lists.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, okay, you've now got this collection of phrases, questions. You can start interacting. But how do you actually get better? Make progress. Our sources give some really practical, doable tips for beginners.
And the big one, consistency. It comes up again and again in the materials. Daily practice, even short sections like 10, 15 minutes. It adds up over time. It's all about making it a habit.
Right. Did the sources say why that's better? Like short and regular versus long and occasional?
Yeah, they suggest it helps things stick in your memory better. Like you revisit the information before your brain totally forgets it. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, it does.
And making it enjoyable is also key. One tip was watching English videos with subtitles on.
Oh, yeah. Good one.
Great way to connect the sound to the word. Helps listening and reading together.
And similarly, listening to English songs, maybe even trying to sing along. It can be surprisingly fun.
Yeah.
And good for your pronunciation, getting the rhythm of the language. Might feel a bit silly at first, singing in a language you're just starting.
Definitely feels awkward sometimes.
But it really helps with, the muscle memory of making the sounds.
Totally. And our sources really push this next one. Speak with people. Don't let the fear of mistakes hold you back.
Ah, the fear factor. That's a big hurdle for so many learners.
It's huge. But you've got to embrace mistakes, really. See them as part of learning. Every error is actually a chance to figure something out, get better. Don't let wanting to be perfect stop you from actually practicing.
So what kind of practice did they suggest then at this early stage?
Simple conversations.
Okay.
Even just using the basic phrases we talked about, trying to answer simple questions. Just the act of speaking helps make it real in your head and builds confidence.
Makes sense. Use it or lose it, kind of.
Pretty much. And finally, the sources recommended using language learning apps. They mentioned Duolingo, BBC Learning English as examples. These can give you structured lessons, little exercises.
Yeah, those apps can be great.
And make it accessible, often to use games, spaced repetition, stuff that really helps things stick long term. It's actually amazing how many resources are out there now for all different ways people like to learn.
Okay, wow. So we've actually covered a fair bit. We looked at why English is so, significant globally. We went through those essential greetings, introductions, key beginner phrases, simple questions and answers, and then some really practical ways to actually learn. So just to kind of pull the main points together.
Okay, so we established English as this major global language, right? Big in business, travel, online content, lots of benefits, personal and professional. And you've got the basics now for starting a conversation. Casual greetings, formal ones, asking, how are you? Shame. responding politely.
Right. And we unpack those key phrases for saying your name, asking theirs, being polite with nice to meet you, showing thanks, and using sorry or excuse me. Plus those simple questions to find out where someone's from, what they like, and asking about their English level.
And crucially, we talked about how to learn effectively. Consistency, that daily practice. Using videos, music, super important. Getting over the fear of making mistakes when you speak.
Yes, don't be afraid.
And using tools like language apps to help you along. This basic toolkit, it's actually a really significant first step.
It really is. And it's worth remembering, isn't it? Everyone's speaking English fluently now. They all started right where a beginner is today, right at the start.
Exactly the same place.
Consistent effort, being willing to practice, and not being scared to mess up. Those are the things that lead to getting better and feeling more confident.
Which kind of leads to a final thought, maybe something for listeners to chew on. How could mastering even just these fundamental phrases actually change your experiences?
Oh, interesting question.
Yeah, like think about meeting English speakers just out and about, or maybe traveling somewhere new where English is common. What sort of new connections, what opportunities could these seemingly simple communication skills actually unlock for you personally? It's really about more than just words, isn't it? It's fundamentally about connection, about opening doors to new experiences.